You're at your favorite basketball game. Your favorite team is up by 5 with a minute and a half left. What happens? Intentional foul. Game kind of dies. Everyone's waiting around, free throws are being shot, but the adrenaline of the game is dying. Finally, the game starts moving again. But what happens within the next 10 seconds? An intentional foul. The same process starts over again every time, killing the game faster and faster. Now, the foul-a-thon that happens at the end of basketball games sucks the energy out of one of the most exciting atmospheres in the sports world, a basketball game. Now, I go to roughly 10 basketball games a year, so I've seen this happen over and over again, and it never gets any better. Luckily, Nick Elam, a professor at Ball State University, came up with a solution to help this issue. It's called the Elam ending, and I am here to propose to you why the Elam ending should be implemented in both the NBA, or professional basketball, and the NCAA, or college basketball. So the problem is the intentional fouling itself and how it quickly kills the excitement of the game. The intensity is building, it gets so exciting, but once the fouls start happening, the American pastime that we all know and love becomes boring and tedious and long, and everything just kind of dies. Also, intentional fouling is rarely effective. Nick Elam, the creator of the Elam ending, did some research at last year's March Madness tournament, or the NCAA tournament, and he noted that 44 of the 70 second half endings, including overtimes, tried to use intentional fouling to win the game. Out of those 44 attempts, it was only successful 3 times. 3 out of 44 times. If you're a little bit more into stats like I am, intentional fouling is used in about 50% of all basketball games, and it's only effective about 1.5% of the time. So it's not a good strategy, and it's used way too frequently for any kind of result. It also adds extra time to the end of a basketball game. 1 minute of basketball time with intentional fouling translates to about 5.4 minutes of real time. Also, the last 3 minutes of basketball time translate to about 12 minutes of real time. That's a lot of time at the end of the game when it's supposed to say 3 minutes left. Plus, a lot of basketball games happen on weekday nights, and a lot of people have to get up to go to school or work the next day, and they don't want a bunch of extra time at the end of their game keeping them up late, especially if not a lot's happening. The solution. Nick Elam, the creator of the Elam ending from Ball State University, proposed this plan that I'm going to go over in just a second to help eliminate the intentional fouling and keep games more exciting at the end of it. So, the Elam ending says that the first whistle blown with under 4 minutes left in the second half, or 3 minutes for the NBA, 4 minutes is for the NCAA, the clock stops. Now, this sounds a little weird at first, but bear with me because it gets a lot better. Once the clock stops, the target score is set, and the target score is whatever the winning team has at that point in time plus 7. So the target score looks like that. Now, the target score, the adding 7, was created by a statistician. The statistician discovered that there's about 7 points scored within the last 3 minutes of a basketball game. And so hopefully it shouldn't shorten the length of any basketball games, and hopefully not extend it too long afterwards either. So it should be a middle ground by adding those 7 points. After the 7 points are added, the game resumes, and whichever team reaches the target score first is the winner. So if Team A has 50 points when the target score is set, and Team B has 40 points when the target score is set, the first team to 57 points is the winner. visualization of the benefits. Now, the benefits of this are quite extensive, so bear with me. This works really well, and a lot of people are on board with it. The basketball tournament, also known as the TBT, happens every year. It's a single elimination, winner takes all tournament, and the winners can win up to $2 million. Anyone can sign up and play, and theoretically anyone could win. Elam emailed his 67 PowerPoint slide presentation to the owner of this tournament, explaining his ending and why it should be used. The owner was so thrilled with his attention to detail and really liked the idea that he decided to implement it in his 2017 tournament. And the response was insane. Everyone loved it. It pulled 90% positive on Twitter. I mean, you could give everyone a free puppy and it still wouldn't pull 90% on Twitter. They also used it at the NBA All-Star game this year. Theirs was a little different. They added 24 points to the end for their target score in honor of Kobe Bryant, but everything else was the exact same, and it also had rave reviews. Everyone enjoyed it. Along with the popularity of it, the starters in your basketball game will play the entire game. In cases where there is no intentional fouling and it's just one team is really, really far ahead, they will send in their substitutes, and no one really wants to watch the substitutes play. They're all there for the starters. So since there is a target score and there's no clock, no time is going to run out. So it is anybody's game until it comes down to it. So if you put all your bad players in, the other team could still catch up and win, so all the starters will play the whole time. There's no more point in intentional fouling because it's not going to work. The whole point of that was to get the ball without running down the clock. But if there's no clock, then there's no fouling. And in both the TBT and the All-Star game, that was really evident. No one had intentional fouling in any of those games. Every single game has a winning shot, and there's no overtime. If it ends in a tie, there's overtime in basketball. But if you're going to a target score, two teams can't shoot a basket and tie at the same time, so overtime is eliminated, and that winning shot is captured in every game, which doesn't always happen in basketball. So, the call to action. What can you do? I am proposing that this should be implemented in the NCAA and the NCAA, but you can help me by spreading the word. This is still not a very common idea, although it's gaining traction, especially after the All-Star game. But if you can spread the word about how awesome it is, hopefully it'll catch on and become implemented in all of those games. These are my sources, and thank you.